When I took my first Vipassana course back in 2011, there was something that I found fascinating about the technique. It made me think that Vipassana is a lot more powerful than you might expect, and for reasons that are not taught during the 10-day course. Between you and me, I think it has a lot in common with the teachings of the Indian yogis. And I had that same thought when I did my second course last year. So let me tell you all about it. I explained what Vipassana meditation is in my previous video, but I'm gonna give you a quick overview. Now, before we get into it, I just want to say that my Patreon members get exclusive access to a completely ad-free version of this video, and they get to use the picture-in-picture feature from Patreon, which works really well. So Vipassana meditation is a very popular Buddhist meditation technique that you usually learn during a 10-day meditation course, and the way you practice it is that you simply move the awareness up and down your body, trying to notice any physical sensations. The sensations can be anything, like the touch of the cloth against the body, a sensation of heat or cold, pain, discomfort, and so on. But the important thing here is to observe the sensations with equanimity. This means that you avoid reacting with craving if the sensation feels pleasant, or aversion if the sensation feels unpleasant. And the reason for this is that craving and aversion are considered fundamental mental impurities. They are the root of many harmful emotions like anger, greed, hatred, fear, and so on, which lead to more suffering. So as long as you're able to observe the sensations with equanimity without reacting with craving and aversion, you stop creating new mental impressions or sankharas of craving and aversion, and the past impressions are gradually burned away. And this is how the mind is purified, which is one of the main purposes of this meditation technique. But besides this, there is something pretty interesting that starts happening as you keep scanning up and down the body, trying to notice any physical sensations. The sensations start to become more and more subtle. You start to experience unusual sensations like tingling, vibration, pulsation, or simply just energy moving throughout your body. This reminds me of a popular saying from the yoga tradition: wherever the mind goes, the prāṇa follows. Prāṇa, which is usually translated as vital energy, is a kind of subtle energy that sustains all life and is the basis for all the functions and movements within the body. So, according to the Indian yogis, wherever we place our attention, the prana, this energy, starts flowing in that direction. So, as we keep moving our awareness up and down in the Vipassana meditation technique, what we're actually doing is moving prana throughout the body. This is why I like to think of Vipassana as a kind of Pranayama. I know. We might not be doing any type of breathing exercises, but in a way, we are controlling prana, right? But what will be the purpose of moving all this energy or prana throughout the body? Well, during the course, Goenka makes special emphasis to pay close attention to the blind areas on the body. These are the places where you're not able to notice any physical sensations. You know, sometimes you might notice sensations on the right shoulder, but nothing on the left. Maybe you notice sensations on the chest, but nothing on your back, and so on. But the idea here is that you notice sensations all over your body. So you're encouraged to observe or to pay close attention to all the blind areas until you start experiencing sensations everywhere. Well, here's the interesting part. I believe those blind areas, those places where you are not able to notice physical sensations, those are the location of energy blocks within the pranic body. And these energy blocks are nothing but the mental impurities, past traumas, habit patterns, and so on stored in the pranic body. So, by paying close attention to those blind areas until you start noticing a gross sensation and eventually a subtle sensation, what you're actually doing is removing these energy blocks by using the power of attention, allowing the prana to flow freely. So this will mean that Vipassana meditation purifies the mind by preventing the formation of new sankharas or mental impression of craving and aversion, by allowing the past sankharas to be consumed, and by removing the energy blocks from the pranic body, which are also sankharas. Okay, just to be clear, this idea of purifying the mind by moving prana is not taught at all during the course. This is just my personal interpretation, and I might be completely wrong, so you're free to agree or disagree with me. But if it was true, I do understand why Cuenca wouldn't talk about it. You see, in Vipassana meditation, the emphasis is on awareness and equanimity. That is, the ability to observe reality as it is without making any judgments, accepting every experience, whether pleasant or unpleasant, in the same way. If we were to approach the practice with the purpose of moving prana, we might develop craving or attachment towards the subtle sensations, which will defeat the purpose of the practice. That said, and although it is repeated several times during the course that all sensations are equal, there are no better or worse sensations, it is clear that experiencing the subtle sensations is desirable and is also a sign of progress in the practice. Now, there was another very interesting instruction during the last couple of days of the course. Cuenca said that if you've been able to experience these subtle sensations for some time, you can try to bring the awareness deeper to experience the subtle sensations within the body. Not only that, but he goes even further, saying that you can try to bring the awareness within the spine, so you can experience the subtle sensations moving up and down the spine. This immediately reminded me of a very important pranayama technique known as spinal breathing pranayama, or simply kriya yoga. In Kriya Yoga, you also move the awareness up and down, or you move the energy up and down the spine. And some teachers say that this purifies the mind and burns all karmas. Paramahansa Yogananda says the increased life force coursing towards your brain will cauterize the seeds of all reincarnation making good and bad karma, grooved in the cerebrum and subconscious mind. I know. There is a lot more to Kriya Yoga. You also have to use a particular type of breathing with some mantra repetitions, some visualizations, and some specific asanas. But I like to see that at least the overall idea of moving energy up and down the spine, perhaps as a means to purify the mind and therefore accelerate evolution, is somewhat similar in both traditions. Another very interesting insight you learn from the yoga tradition is that the flow of the breath changes at regular intervals throughout the day. Sometimes the breath flows predominantly on the left nostril, sometimes it flows more on the right nostril, and occasionally it flows evenly through both nostrils. When this happens, when both nostrils are open, it is said that the central channel, the Sushumna Nadi, is active. According to the Indian yogis, this is really important for meditation because only then is the mind in perfect balance and it becomes one-pointed. So the yogis developed different methods to consciously manipulate these changes in the flow of the breath. For example, in the Himalayan yoga tradition, there is a practice known as Sushumna application. For this, at the beginning of the meditation session, you focus your attention at the spot right under the nostrils, just above the upper lip. When you focus your attention at this spot for some time, both nostrils open and start to flow freely, which leads to the activation of the central channel, the Sushumna Nadi.
For meditation, you have to establish tranquility. And for that, system is to apply Sushumna. The method, simple method of breathing. Suppose, now, this nostril is blocked. I am concentrating my mind on this. This will open. Now I concentrate my mind on this, this will open. But if I concentrate my mind in the center, both will become free. When both nostrils start flowing freely, that stage is called Sukha Mana. Why Mana? I am talking of breath. How mind is involved? Don't forget that mind and breath are two twin laws of life.
Well, guess what? At the end of the first 3 days of the course, when you are developing samatha or concentration, Cuenca instructed all students to narrow down their awareness until they can focus exactly at that same spot. He didn't give any details about it, he simply said that you are developing concentration. But at the same time, I don't think it's just a coincidence, right? What do you guys think? I know, I said in a previous video that I'll never do another Goenka-style Vipassana meditation course again. And that's still true, that hasn't changed at all. But this doesn't mean that I don't like the technique. I actually think it's very powerful, especially because of all the reasons I just gave you. And that's why I wanted to share this video with you. But if you think I'm completely wrong, or if you also found some similarities, please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about Vipassana meditation and the 10-day course, you can watch this video right here. My Patreon members can find the link in the description on Patreon. Right guys, I'll see you on the next one.